family, friends, faculty, supporters, and most importantly, the class of 2021, welcome to graduation! Please stay standing or rise if you choose for the national anthem. Please be seated. So much of education is done. My bad. I'd now like to introduce the musical selection, Minute from a Downland Suite, Ireland. Honor Symphonia Quintet, everybody. So much of education is done ass backwards. It was these words, uttered by the one and only Brian Keeney a few weeks ago, that truly got me thinking about the holistic experience we've collectively endured that has led up to this moment. While it might be ironic to think about the downfalls of education as we stand here as graduates at one of the nation's best public high schools, I believe it's even more fitting to do so. After all, being taught to question and critically consider other possibilities has been a large part of my education. And as we take the next step on our journey with it, the question arises, what is education? To me, education is not the act of memorizing content like different formulas and equations to regurgitate back up on tests and quizzes. Education is, instead, the immersive, lifelong process where you absorb skills, stories, and lessons from those in your community and pass them on to others. A successful education is one that makes you feel like you're important. You can make a difference, and you have the skills to start doing what you want when you leave whatever you consider your classroom to be. And there was a time back in elementary school where I truly thought that school was fostering a positive and creative environment, one that encouraged growth and exploration. Back in first and second grade, we were instructed to write stories based on our dreams and our adventurous imaginations. But sadly, this small window of time ended upon the introduction of standardized testing. Because of MCAS testing, we discovered quickly that our imagination no longer counted for points, grades, or any rewards. When we were taught how to write for tests, we were told we needed to use a specific formula. You all know it, trees. Topic sentence, reason, evidence, explanation, and then sentence to conclude. Trees, 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 repeat. That was just how you wrote. This formula has been so entrenched in our way of writing that in fourth grade, when we had to write creatively about finding our dream treasure chest for the MCAS long composition prompt, so many of us were unable to do so. I remember sitting there, just completely stumped. And the scariest thing about that incident is that fourth grade me could go on and on about dragons and adventures, but because of the way I had already been conditioned to write using tree's structure, I wasn't able to put those ideas into writing. My elaborate adventure just didn't fit into the formula. And it's exact moments like these that make me question whether our education system is truly serving all the students it claims and needs to help. There's a stark difference between the ways I've been taught to apply knowledge and the ways I'm best able to learn. Believe it or not, memorizing hundreds of flashcards, listening to hours of lectures on concepts many of us won't ever use and find boring, and taking 3-hour-long tests comprising a year of such vocabulary and concepts are far from the most effective ways of learning and educating. In my honest view, teaching with empathy and care is the best way to show students that they matter, their voices ought to be heard, and the curriculum is tailored towards the ways they learn best. Call me crazy, but education isn't being forced by the College Board to take in random information from 27 useless chapters for a test you're bound to forget about a month later. Think about what you're going to remember from high school, besides this speech, of course. For me, it's not the formulas, concepts, and vocabulary that were hammered into us. It's the connections and the conversations that I've elected to create and engage in. A successful education facilitates an environment where those relationships and dialogues can happen. We must be taught to treat people like people, and true educators can facilitate that. Schools are an essential place for this lesson, and as young adults, we need more of that in our classrooms. Teachers and administrators, your influence reaches far beyond the walls of just this school. Thank you for your incredible commitment to us. We will always be grateful for it. My fellow graduates, you've been given the tools, the opportunity, and the privilege to change the world. Please don't waste it. We've already shown our resilience. Now let's show our power. I'm proud of you all. Congratulations and thank you. I would now like to welcome the valedictorian Atharva Welling to give some remarks.
What's up, everyone? Good day? Good stuff. All right, the following is a list of people who told me to shout them out in this speech. Sam just asked to be in this, Sam Goldstone, Zach Marto, Dylan Bonanno, Rai Yamaguchi, Keenan Schill. So that's the first part of that. There we go. So for all the parents who looked at their program when they walked in here next to valedictorian and were like, what the hell does that say? My name is pronounced Atharva Welling. For those of you who've been mispronouncing my name for 4 straight years, don't feel too bad about it. You can take solace in the fact that you figured it out on one of the last days that we will ever see each other. Before I address my classmates, I'd be remiss not to give a sincere thank you to each and every one of the parents, teachers, administrators, coaches, and other important figures who've made it possible for us to be here. As angst-ridden teenagers, we too often forget to express our gratitude to the people who matter the most. And so I'd like to thank every last one of you for the contributions you've made and the patience you've shown to us during the most formative and most annoying years of our lives. Now to the class of 2021. I'd really appreciate it if you could look up from TikTok for like 3 gosh darn minutes. I have a few words for all of you. First of all, congratulations. You managed to senior slump just the right amount. Now you get to sit on the turf in the blazing sun for 2 hours, all for a piece of paper that you will take one photo with and then promptly forget about. But seriously, you should all be incredibly proud of yourselves for having become such wonderful, intelligent, talented people, and it's been a privilege to spend the last 4 years with you all. All right, this is a graduation speech, so I'm going to quote someone, because apparently that's what you're supposed to do. RuPaul once said, I take kindness seriously, I take love seriously, but all the rest, baby, I just have fun. That's from hosting Saturday Night Live. It was an awful episode, don't watch it. But that quote from the monologue really stuck with me. Graduation speeches are kind of weird. Every single one I've seen or heard is one of 2 things. A lot just recap high school in a really emotional way, but I gather that at 17 or 18 years old, you can probably remember the last quarter of your life. It's either that or advice for your futures about how to be a better person, but like, look at me. I don't know anything about that. I'm 17 years old, figuring out how to cook food that isn't either toast or eggs, so I'm in no position to give advice to anyone at all. So I stressed a little bit while I was writing the speech, but then I remembered that quote. As proud as you should be of yourselves, and as grateful as I am to the administration for putting in the time and effort to make this ceremony happen, this whole thing is one day going to be a very distant memory. Damn the wind, alright. You definitely will not remember what I said today in 30 years. But this event, and a lot of life, is very, very absurd, at least to me. For example, think about how much your priorities have changed over the last 4 years. I'll give myself as an example. When I was a freshman, I would legitimately start to worry if I was running late for crew practice. 1.5 years later, I quit crew when one of the bolts on the rigger, that's the thing that holds your oar in place, fell off while I was in the middle of a race and broke the rigger off the boat entirely, and that forced us to stop before I went overboard. So no offense to anyone who does crew, but that experience scarred me for life and you're crazy. But that's just another example of how absurd life can be. Not only the fact that one piece of metal determined a big portion of the rest of my high school career, but also the fact that as a senior, I cannot fathom why freshman me was so petrified of being late to a practice for a sport that I was beyond awful at. As much as I've enjoyed high school, there have been plenty of moments when I have failed super hard and been incredibly sad about it, and I look back at those moments and I am so confused what was running through my head to make me so bummed out. Obviously, failure is not limited to high school, although that would be really convenient. Each and every one of you will, at some point in your adult lives, undoubtedly find yourselves in a rut. You will swing and miss, you will crash and burn, you will probably do it many, many times. You will take risks that will not pay off, and inevitably, you will sit down, put your hands in your head, and wonder why you're even doing what you're doing. As much as it hurts to admit, failure is a part of life. How you respond to those failures is really something that I can't control. Again, I highly doubt that you will remember this speech in a couple years. Most of you can't remember what happened 2 weeks ago. However, and this is breaking my rule about giving advice, but like, what are you going to do about it? I hope you remember just how absurd a lot of those failures are. Whenever I'm going through a rough experience, there's always that one person who tells me that I'll laugh about this in 10 years. And at that moment, I'm like, screw you, I don't care what happens in 10 years, I'm worried right now. However, those people are telling the truth. Way less than 10 years since I broke that rigor, it is one of the best stories that I can remember to give myself or others a bit of a laugh. Take kindness seriously, take love seriously. That's one thing this school and all of you have definitely taught me. But with all the rest, as difficult as it is, I really hope you just have fun. A lot of things, from global pandemics to the boats holding together rowing boats, are 100% out of our control. Why allow them to take up so much of the space in your mind when that mind is so capable of so many other beautiful, amazing things? Some of our failures will be our own fault, but unless you plan on inventing time travel, the path is out of our control as well. We are given one life to live, and I cannot tell you how to live. But I can tell you this. The more you fail, the more stories you have to tell. The more stories you have to tell, the more you get to laugh. And I don't know about you, but laughing sounds like fun to me. Once again, thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2021.
Thank you, authority. I now would like to call the salutatorian, Elizabeth Zahn, to the stage for her remarks.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to top a Harvest speech, but I'll try my best. Good afternoon, friends, family, teachers, and graduates. It is an honor to speak on this very special day. Now, graduates, I want to offer my heartfelt congratulations. I realize that this is just one of many congratulations you'll hear today, and probably over the days to come, but it does not make it any less meaningful. Today marks a special moment in our lives that means something different for each of us, but is significant all the same. We've made it. We're graduating. Even amidst the pandemic, even amidst unprecedented times, we are graduating. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first heard that school was canceled for 2 weeks last year, my immediate thought was, thank God I don't have to take that physics test tomorrow. And then my second thought was, dang, I'm taking it on my birthday. Needless to say, I did not end up taking that test on my birthday, or ever, for that matter. Like everyone, I was at home, celebrating my 17th birthday away from friends. During those first couple of weeks, we had no idea what was truly in store for us. We did not know that school would be canceled indefinitely, or that school would soon consist of floating Zoom calls. We had no idea that we would be graced and honored with an incredible TikTok by Miss Snow, or that our senior year would start like no other. That we would only see half of our grade in person again, no fewer than 7 months later. Now during this time, away from friends, family, from people I thought I would always be able to see, even if I didn't necessarily really want to see them, I realized something. You know, there's nothing like a good old pandemic to grant you all sorts of epiphanies. First, introversion is a sham. As an introvert myself, I thought this pandemic would be my time to shine, my time to thrive on the lack of social contact and alone time. Want to hang out this weekend? Sorry, that would be irresponsible for me to come. For the first few months, this was true. I was perfectly content to just stay home. But as it turns out, the one thing introversion is good for, being okay with being by yourself, that doesn't work when there's a global epidemic. Which brings me to my second epiphany. I came to realize the importance of the people I had surrounded myself with. The people who had been there for me since I was just a baby. The people who had come and gone from my life, but left me forever changed. The people who only recently, from just a few years ago to just a few weeks ago, entered my life and continue to enrich it. And so obviously I would like to thank all of these people because if it were not them, I would not be where I am today. So thank you to Mom and Dad, shout out to you guys, for your unwavering support in everything I do, and for the gentle push to be my very best self. Thank you to my brother Alex for being an incredible role model and a goal to strive toward, even when you kick me out of your room. Thank you to my friends who have pulled me out of my shell and taught me to live a little. Thank you to all of my classmates, because class would not be nearly as entertaining without all of you. And thank you to the teachers for everything you have done for me and other graduates here, for the support you've given us both in and outside the classroom, and for being understanding when it's last clock on Friday. You've given us a place to turn to when we need a good cry, a good laugh. You're there to ask us how our day has been and give us life advice, from wisdom about love to ideas. And finally, I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Roldan. You believed in me when I did not believe in myself. And you have given so many students the confidence to take the world by storm. You have led by example, teaching students to treat everyone, including themselves, with kindness and compassion. Fellow graduates, I encourage you all to find someone who has given you confidence when you need it the most, and thank them as well. I encourage you to treasure the relationships you have and the new ones you will form. After all, we're graduating. No matter what your plans are post-high school, whether you're off to college, working, taking a gap year, we're all going to meet new people. And these relationships that you form will be invaluable. Collaboration is humanity at its finest. When we can work together, there is nothing we cannot do. Class of 2021, I have loved spending the last 12 years with you all. I might go as far to say that they have been the best 12 years of my life, considering that I don't remember the first 6. But I cannot wait to see what you all accomplish in the years to come, and from the bottom of my heart, I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I now call up Metco class representative Kayla Simpson for her remarks.
Hi. Okay. I'd like to say a special good afternoon to my fellow peers in class of 2021, all of the parents, and anybody who supported any of us during our journey. Sorry. We finally made it, class of 2021. Sorry. I have allergies, so bear with me if I sniffle. It's been a long 4 years, and COVID ruled our lives for the last 2. Unlike the classes before and after us, the class of 2021 has missed out on some key high school experiences. Despite everything, we still managed to savor some of these events in the essence of our senior year. Wayland High School is one of opportunity. The small class sizes, which are normally accompanied by a teaching assistant, allow for more attention for students and their differing learning styles. We are given computers that we are allowed to bring home and maintain. Wayland High School is ranked one of the top 10 schools in the state this year, which means on the academic and college preparedness front, Wayland is doing something right. Being prepared for college is one thing, but being prepared for life is another. The lack of education about people who live outside of Wayland's bubble is astonishing. There's a whole world waiting outside of Wayland for us, but how we will interact with that world is people of different economic, racial, and ethnic backgrounds, as well as many who grapple with their gender identity and sexual orientation. This school has done very little to enlighten students on the existence of these realities. If there was a ranking for that, where do you think Wayland would be? Wayland has been a MECO town since 1968, and far too many students don't know why it exists or persists. Many believe that Boston resident students extract money from the school budget, but in reality, on our bus ride, it brings not only us, but the tax dollars into the budget of Wayland High School as well. Being up before the sun and taking a 45-minute bus ride is only a portion of the price I've had to pay for something as fundamental as my right to a quality education. I have observed the environment in this school, as well as the lengths many would take to shelter themselves from the outside world. I was given a rude awakening to the abhorrences of people's quiet thoughts and louder actions. Wayland is not exempt from the plague of racism. Its gross negligence to address racism properly aids in the harboring of these issues. So much more than an email from the principal and the superintendent needs to be done to correct the environment that has been passively created. This assessment is not a measure of intent, but an impact of their actions and lack thereof. In the words of James Baldwin, "If I love you, I have to make you conscious of what you do not see." Wayland High School turned a blind eye and remained oblivious for too long. And in hopes of bettering the environment and for the students who come after me, I'm making Wayland High School conscious of what you do not see. To the class of 2021, as well as parents of these students, I pose these questions. Wind. How many of you can truly say you've built a relationship with a Boston resident student? Of those, how many have gone to visit their friends in their place of residence? How many times have they come to visit you? Is there a disparity in these numbers? The creator of MECO, Miss Ruth Batson, envisioned MECO being a multi-directional program where both the students in the host town and the commuting Boston resident students learn something from one another. There are perspectives and interactions that are imperative to experience and learn from both current and former MECO students. There is still time. As long as we are all tied together by the bond which is Wayland High School, we can never be so far from one another. Unfortunately, the environment that I observed at Wayland High School deterred me from building bonds with people that could have been lifelong. As we leave here today and venture into the world, I urge you to think about all that I have said today. What have you done to further your knowledge of those, your peers in society and the world? Congratulations to each and every one of you. We've all worked extremely hard for this, and nobody can take this moment or accomplishment away from you. Class of 2021, out.
Thank you so much, Tina. I now would like to call up senior class treasurer, Aiden Zhang.
Thank you, Sam, and good afternoon to all of you. Today, we embark on a journey which will last the rest of our lives, leaving behind the relative safe haven of childhood for the rough seas of adulthood. And in that voyage, for many of us, our North Star will be the dream of changing our little corners of the world for the better. Of course, many have dreamed of changing the world. A much smaller number has actually succeeded in that endeavor, raising this question: why? Why can we see the legacies of some all around us and the legacies of others flicker out like a candle in a hurricane? Well, one factor which I would like to discuss today is a difference in approach. We often think of it as a difference between pragmatists and idealists, but back in the 600s BC, the Greek poet Archilochus identified it in the fable The Fox and the Hedgehog, which I will now present in its entirety. A fox knows many things, but a hedgehog knows one big thing. The end. Yes, all but the last line of this fable has been lost to time, but nevertheless it has become the inspiration for a new lens through which we view human ambition, accomplishment, and leadership. Under this paradigm, there are broadly two types of people: hedgehogs and foxes. Hedgehogs are big picture people, and they see everything through the lens of a single organizing principle. Notable hedgehogs include Plato, Winston Churchill, and Mao Zedong. Meanwhile, foxes are more cautious. They pursue a greater number of smaller ends, which can be unrelated and even contradictory. And among their ranks are the likes of Aristotle, Shakespeare, and Warren Buffett. These two cognitive styles produce people who have radically different approaches to life, and this begs a question: which animal is more successful at being agents of change? In order to answer this question, imagine this conversation between two men. The year is 1807. The place is Paris, France, and the parties are Napoleon Bonaparte and his chief diplomat, Talleyrand. They are discussing Napoleon's continental system, a pan-European embargo of Great Britain, and Napoleon says, well, Russia and Portugal are violating the embargo and trading with Britain. Therefore, I must invade them both to enforce it. Meanwhile, Talleyrand, ever the cautious diplomat, responds, that may be true, but you would be stymied by the Russian winter, your supply lines will be stretched thin, and your men will die of hunger. You would need to solve 100 logistical issues, and even then, you might fail. Meanwhile, Portugal is so small and insignificant that it fails to justify the cost of such an expedition. And Napoleon reports, I've beaten Russia, Portugal, and various German states all before. What makes this any different? And this is a matter of principle. I must enforce the embargo no matter how inconsequential the violation. He would go on to invade Portugal in 1807, and Russia in 1812. There his army froze, and by 1814 he was exiled to the island of Elba. So why did Napoleon fail in the end? Well, I would argue that it was because he was too much of a hedgehog. He focused too much on his grand dreams of a continent united under France and failed to think about the little things. Instead of failing to see the forest for the trees, he failed to see the trees for the forest. A more fox-like person in your position might have considered the costs, benefits, and risks and made a different decision which avoided that particular catastrophe. That is not, however, to say that it is better to be a fox. Their failures are often less spectacular because their cautious nature prevents them from formulating and implementing the sorts of grand strategies which hedgehogs are so drawn to and which tend to result in great calamities. But those grand plans are also the ones who leave the greatest impact on the world. In keeping with our example of Napoleon, a fox may have avoided a catastrophic invasion of Russia, but they would have never risen to prominence in the first place. The danger, then, in being too much of a fox or too much of a hedgehog is that you will either become someone who attempts nothing because they try to plan for everything, or someone who is led to disaster by their own inflexibility. The solution is not just to be a fox or just a hedgehog, it is to be a mix of both. The historian John Lewis Gaddis pointed out that one of the best examples of a leader combining the strengths of both animals is our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. He had the most noble goal, to end slavery, and yet in order to pass the 13th Amendment, he engaged in backroom deals, quid pro quos, and bribery. He succeeded because he viewed no issue standing in the way of his vision as too minor for his attention. A hedgehog would have seen the amendment defeated in Congress, and a fox would have never brought it to the floor in the first place. It was only through a combination of the best attributes of both animals that Lincoln was able to achieve his goals. The lesson of the hedgehog and the fox is that in order to change the world, you must combine soaring ambitions with the means to make them manifest. To have one without the other is a recipe for failure. In the last few weeks and months, I've reflected quite a bit on my 4 years here, and I think my greatest regret was that I was too cautious, that I was too much of a fox. I held my tongue where I should have spoken, gave up opportunities, and held back where I should have pressed on, all because I worried excessively. It is those missed moments that keep me up at night. But if you take one thing, and only one thing from this speech, let it be this. Keep one eye on your North Star, one eye on the horizon, and you will go far. Thank you, and congratulations once again to the class of 2021.
Thank you so much, Aiden, and all the student speakers. I'd now like to introduce Miss Jeannie Downs, the chairman of the school committee, chairperson.
Thank you, Sam. Well, on behalf of the school committee, greetings to our graduates, families, and staff. It is so nice to be here today. In September, it was hard to know what today would look like, and I'm just thrilled that we can all be here together. Many thanks to Dr. Mizuguchi, Ms. Cole, Mr. Gass, and all the senior class advisors for making today happen. It's wonderful. This has been quite a year. We've essentially had 3 first days of school, remote, hybrid, all in. And last year, as we were contemplating and frankly stressing over what the hybrid mode would look like in Wayland, I was speaking with my own dad, who's in his 80s, and I was telling him about the different hybrid options that Wayland was considering. And he said, I remember when we went to school for half days, one group in the morning and one group in the afternoon. So I asked him, what caused this? And he replied, World War II. We didn't have enough teachers because they went off to fight the war. And as I listened to his response, I realized we will be okay. His generation made it, and I was confident yours would too. This year has certainly been bumpy and messy, but it's had many silver linings. When I think about your class, many of whom I've known since you were quite small, I think of how well you got through this year. Not only did you face a global health emergency and all the new ways to do things that went with it, but you grappled with a racial and political landscape that has rocked all our worlds. Throw in global climate crisis, and one might wonder how your generation will move forward. But I know you will. What I see in your class is a group of young people who think critically about what's going on at Wayland High School, in our country, and in the world. You're not afraid to speak up, act on your convictions, and work for change. As you enter this new chapter of your life, continue to do just that. As the late John Lewis said, if you come together with a mission, and it's grounded with love and a sense of community, you can make the impossible possible. As you leave Wayland High School, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, to make change, to do what's right. If it doesn't work out, keep trying, and do it all with grace, kindness, and compassion. And someday, you will tell your own children and grandchildren about this year, just like my dad told me about his school experience. And you'll be an example to them of how with hard work, resiliency, and grace, you made it through and made the world a better place. Congratulations, class of 2021. I can't wait to hear about all the great things you do. And now, as you know, we are leading us into this school year, and we wanted to take this opportunity to introduce our incoming superintendent, Dr. Omar Easy. Dr. Easy.
Wayland Public Schools. Excuse me. Where do I begin? It's very unusual. To sit here today and experience this wonderful led student graduation ceremony. My experience in graduation has always been led by the administrators, so I'm very thrilled, very happy to see Dan here handling his business. That's very encouraging. I must say thank you and good evening to each and every one of you. I want to say special thanks to the school committee for its continual commitment to excellence. It is truly, indeed, a pleasure for me to be here today. And yes, I know it's hot. But the mission today is to be brief, and I will. I must say to our honorable guests, civic leaders, administrators, teachers, parents, and especially the graduating class of 2021, welcome. You know, graduating from high school typically invokes some deep and sometimes conflicting feelings. But in quiet reflection, though, you realize that an important chapter in your life has passed, and a new chapter of growth awaits as you take the next critical steps in your career and your future. An old Chinese proverb that I use to kind of guide where for me through my career says, anyone who rises before dawn, 360 days of the year, will never fail to be successful or make their family rich. And I'm proud to say today that the class of 2021 has done just that. You have succeeded. During this unprecedented time of COVID-19, there was a palpable sense of loss attached to in-person teaching and learning, extracurricular activities, sports, daily routine, and life as you know it. But I'm confident that each of you, and your generation as a whole, will recreate a new normal for our community. Your generation is the generation of change. Your generation is the generation of resilience. You are the generation of hope, peace, and equal justice for all. So wherever you go, whenever you go, proceed with intelligence, be compassionate, and have the courage to act on your moral and your equity imperative. And finally, never forget that you are a waiting warrior. Congratulations in the class of 2021. You have completed this chapter in your life journey. Keep making us proud. We'll be watching. I'll be watching. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Easy. All right, you know her, you love her, Dr. Allison Mizuguchi.
Good afternoon, families, community members, colleagues, and guests. Thank you so much for joining us on this graduation day. And to the graduates, the great class of 2021, congratulations. While we may bemoan the intense heat today, after the year that we have all had, seeing you here with your loved ones, gathered together at one ceremony, gives me great joy. On behalf of your teachers, counselors, administrators, and every staff member in the Wayland Public Schools who has supported you and admired you during your years of schooling in our district, some of whom are here today, I give you my best wishes as you move into your very promising futures. I am extremely proud of you, and I am privileged to have been your principal for the last 4 years. This afternoon, my role is to present you, the class of 2021, to our superintendent, Dr. Yunowski, and to promise and to certify that all of you have done what it takes to earn the Wayland High School diploma. Not only has each of you completed the requirements for a diploma, but you have exemplified resilience, flexibility, and compassion, particularly over the last 15 months. I would even say that all of you held us together. The way that you have supported each other during uncertainty and turmoil and found a way not just to endure the last year and a half of your high school careers, but to thrive and excel has inspired all of us and elevated all of us as a community. Despite the deep impact of COVID on our lives, you all managed to discover new heights of success and creativity. You performed Shakespeare and sang Leonard Bernstein on our courtyard. You won Student Journalism's renowned Peacemaker Award for WSPN. You revived the Power Club and renewed important discussions about race and justice. You participated in debate tournaments and mock trials, robotics, and math competitions. You danced, sang, and played instruments while following strict health and safety guidelines. You volunteered during the presidential election. You figured out a way to hold Spirit Day and Winter Week. You poured yourselves into your studies and debated and discussed important ideas despite wearing masks and sitting in rows in classrooms. You donned your warrior gear with confidence and pride and adapted to new rules in athletics. You reminded us that even in the face of immeasurable challenges and change, life must go on. You will forever belong to a very special circle of people who were high school seniors during the height of the COVID pandemic. You lived and persevered through a worldwide shutdown, through a massive shift in the way school operates, through fear and sickness, and through the loss of many traditions and activities that we once took for granted. And you lead this place to a world that needs your help. As Kayla and Sam have indicated, there is work to be done. This is a world in need of healing and recovery and repair. The doors are opening just as you are ready to launch. The timing is perfect. Knowing what you know now and what you have been through, you are the class that will help us renew and rebuild. Thank you, graduates, for being such an inspiration to us all and for lighting the way forward. Dr. Yunowski, it is my honor to present the class of 2021 to you. I attest that these students have successfully completed all of the requirements for a a Wayland High School diploma. Moreover, they leave a lasting legacy of persistence and spirit and care for one another. Thank you, class of 2021, and congratulations. Before I turn the podium over to Dr. Yunowski, I would like to share my immense gratitude to him, our superintendent, who began his tenure with all of you 4 years ago. Dr. Yunowski has led us through a tremendously challenging time with courage and a steady hand, tirelessly supporting our students and our work over the last 4 years. Thank you, Dr. Yunowski.
Thank you, Dr. Mizuguchi. And thank you to the parents, the family members, the friends, the teachers, the staff, the administrators, for giving me the opportunity to talk to our graduates, class of 2021, for just a couple of minutes. And congratulations to that class. I heard over and over again from staff, thank goodness it's this class that are taking us through this pandemic. Because not only are they tough and resilient, but they are kind. And to the parents, if I were in your shoes and the superintendent were speaking to me, to hear that my children, above all, are kind, would make me extremely proud. So congratulations to those parents. But I want to ask something more today of this class because I think they're up for it. I want to ask them to upend our expectations, the expectations of the adults here to support you. And I'm going to explain what I mean by upending expectations through a singular sporting event that actually happened last week here in Wayland. It is the stealing of home plate from third base, which means essentially the third base runner runs before the pitcher can throw it, and the catcher can catch it and tag the person out. It is not only impractical, but somewhat irrational and usually fails. Yet, our own Joe Tardif, class of 2021, was successful, tied the game, which Wayland eventually won. And I bring this up because this is my favorite event in sports. I remember when my kids were like 4 and 6 years old, running upstairs, grabbing the little one, carrying him down while the other one fall behind to show them that Jacoby Ellsbury, then the center fielder for the Red Sox many years ago, had stolen home against the New York Yankees. It's audacious. I said, you have to see this. It happens only once in a while, and it is the greatest thing. And yeah, they sort of understood their dad's level of intensity and excitement, and they kind of want to go back to bed. So we eventually just sort of called it a night. But they understood what I was saying. I was behind where I sit in my office is a picture of Jackie Robinson in the 1955 World Series sliding in under a tag by Yogi Berra and getting saved. And what you'll see if you watch the YouTube video of this experience is Berra thrusting his mitt at the ump and saying he was out, jumping up and down. And Berra was a little guy, so he's jumping up and down in this big ball of fury, and the ump's sort of stepping back and yelling, no, he was safe, no, he was safe. And yes, Brooklyn ended up losing that game. But I like to think that the psychic torment that it put Yogi Berra through enabled Brooklyn to eventually win the 1955 World Series in 7 games. In fact, it was so unusual for Brooklyn to win. They were in fact called the Bums by the fans that loved them, because they always lost to the Yankees. But this year they won, and I'd like to think it was because of Robinson's act in that first game. And my proof is this: about 55 years later, Berra was in the habit of meeting with every president, but by 55 years later, he was not feeling well enough to see President Obama. So instead, he sent him a picture, a photograph of Robinson sliding into home and the tag, and he wrote under it, "Mr. President." He didn't say, "Mr. President, good luck," or "Mr. President, isn't this a great event that I was part of history here?" No, he said, "Mr. President, Jackie Robinson was out. He could not let it go. It had tormented him for 55 years, and he had lost his temper in the moment, and he couldn't let it go." And that's what I'm asking of all of you, that you need to shake us up. Yes, the adults around here will continue to try to make this a better world for you, as we have done all the way up to this point. We will fight racial justice. We will fight against climate change. We will try to make wars less and less so you don't get put in harm's way. But now it's time. You're old enough where you need to shake us up. You need to be audacious. Find solutions that we have not considered. Find solutions that are perhaps considered by us impractical or audacious. And I hope when you come up with those solutions that we won't act like Yogi Berra in the first game of the 1955 World Series and lose our temper. But if we do, just keep plugging away. We'll get it eventually. So I'm asking you in your own way to steal home. And I think that you're completely capable of it from what we've all seen over these last 13 years. So thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2021. Have a wonderful summer, and I look forward to hearing great things in the future. And now it brings me incredible privilege to ask Dr. Mizuguchi to bestow diplomas on the class of 2021. Dr. Mizuguchi, would you take it from here, please?
All right, the moment that we have been waiting for has arrived. So we are fortunate enough that our senior class president and senior class vice president, Sam Goldstone and Tally Wong, will be announcing the names of our classmates. And we will begin that process momentarily. So if I can have the class advisors and the first row to my right can get lined up, ready to go.
Armin Gevorg Abrahamian. Josephine Sidney Abrams. Kazi Arif Ahmed. Darian Idala. Hila Almog. Lucas Alvarado. Nico Alvarado. Dalit Emmanuel. Victoria Ann Leong Andreessen. Zachary Allen Anzavino. Juliana Apps. Maya Baranovsky. Mark Pataric. Laura Julia Bensis. Kristen Stavros. Lindsay Biggs. Dylan Lane Bonanno. Ryan James Bonvie. Michael Joseph Posqueto. Aya Bowditch. Jenna Renee Brandolioni. Maxwell Harrison Brand. William Thomas Cadu. Eric Cahaley. Daniel Kai. Talia Camille. Zachary Archer Campana. Grace Capalucci. William Carr. Isabella Ferrara. Victoria Cavallo. Oliver Raymond Cern. Shin Ando Chan. Muyun Chen. Nathan Cherubin. Ian Chung. Laura Valley Clayton. Grace Ann Regina Corbett. Charlotte Cornedo. William Cosart. Annabelle Cummings. Jack Curran. Isabella Marie Svirk. Sophia Elizabeth Svirk. Alexander D'Amico. Sashwat Das. Catherine Dean. Alexander John Dennis. Dylan Joseph Drubus. Shane Joseph Drubus. Alyssa Dickstein. Nicholas Ryan Dresens. Liam Campbell Duffy. Carolyn Hannah Elving. David Fang. Leah Ferreira. Mason Fitzgerald. Megan Rose Blathers. Darcy Foreman. Muriel Denasia Franklin. Daniel Fusilov. Jocelyn Garcia. Emma Mackenzie Gardner. Paula Eamon Gattis. Abigail Grace Gavron. Francis William Gill. Tyler Gill. Simon Good. Brian Grasso. Stephen Matthew Green. Jason Haynes. Kalia Hamilton. Audrey Tobin Harris. Tess Olivia Heilman. Liam Ronan Henley. Elizabeth Tipton Hebert. Lydia Hinckley. Erin Maeve Hines. Jalen Papia Uyu Hoops. Christopher Joseph Herney. Mira M. Ireland. Maliha Javed. Eugene Jang. Sean Thomas Frank Egan. John Andrew Kelly. Olivia Taylor Kennedy. Harrison Kiesman. Ava Lauren Koznowski. Juyu Kwong. Nolan Seidman Kurtz. Ella Stoll Lesperance. Justin Lai. Christina Aaron Lamb. McKay Larson. David Michael Lathan. Miranda Feng Yi. Noah Lee. Brian Yenhong Lee. Cameron Lair. Robert Levin. Bingo Lee. Yiron Lee. Nicholas Stevenzon. Rebecca Lieb. Nicholas E. Lian. Anna Lynn. Aaron Locke. Michael Long. Raul Anthony Lopez.
Milani Martinez. Zach Marto. Sophia Marie Mastrangelo. Madeline Elizabeth Maurer. Mia Marie Mazakopoulos. Jack McCann. Aiden Joy Welch Magog. Catherine Emily McGonigal. Arushi Mayerwald. Julia Elizabeth Neely. Elisa Melnikova. Elizabeth Mickelson. Valentina Mickelson. Sophia Ann Midgley. Ryan Hernan Murdoch. Marley Jane Miller. Mira Ann Mills. Max Montez Sosa. Porter Lee Moody. Michael Donald Charles Moran. Matthew Raymond Morris. Matthew Morrison. William Lewis Monroe. Matthew Najami. Ryan Najami. Philip Chen Natsis. Calvin James Neprude. Alexandra Emily Nunn. Catherine Elizabeth O'Brien. Emily Grace O'Shaughnessy. William Harrison Obar. Daniela Olivo. Mackenzie Orlov. Rashid Ezekiel Nagasi Parham. Damien Michael Parsegian. Beck Patsanker. James Christopher Paw Jr. Hartley Ray Peck. Maria Perdomo. Jet Warren Reuben Peter. Trevon Phillips. Danielle Plata. Alina Podashinsky. Olivia Britt Poulin. Meredith Catherine Prince. Jonathan David Provost. Nadia Qadir. Connor Michael Rader. Madeline Elizabeth Breck. Odyssey Paige Reyes. Edmund Creighton Rice. Jessica Madison Robinson. Paulina Rod. Jennifer Rosen. Emily Zoe Rubin. Kayla Simpson. Cal Russell. Jaden St. Felix. Matthias Salama. Charlotte Lynn Salisbury. Keenan, Carly Scheidemann. Keenan Grayson Schill. Joshua Alex Schreiber. Andrea Shang. Zachary Shapiro. Amelia Grace Shapley. Tyler William Sharp. Remington Ann Shaw. Cassandra Silva Cardoso. Nathaniel Smith Sabinga. Juliette Reed Smith. Zoe Soddickson. Javier Soto. Burke Spencer. Margot Patricia Steen. Luke Radford Steifen. Elizabeth Verdi Straley. Alicia Syed. Luke Murphy Tiselli. Joseph Daly Tardif. Tyler Joseph Teplo. Joni Noel Thomas. Sophia Marie Temperio. Atharva Welling. Kathleen Tobin. Katerina Tomasini. Taylor Travis. Ethan C. Jason Tucker. Ellie Tiska. Nicholas Kunja Urado. Leif Veselovsky. Dante Kai Vitrone. Alan Jaming Zoe. James Ryan Waldron. Anna Walsh. Randy Wang. Aiden Zhang. Elizabeth Zong. Alyssa Weathers. Nick Wang. Samuel George White. Walker Philip Whitehouse. Jasmine Wong. Jaming Wang Shu. Mabel Shu. Madeline Leah Yap. Rai Takanari Yamaguchi. Casey Zhang. Eric Zhang. Kaiyang Zhang. Natalie Sullivan Wong.
Last but certainly not least, Samuel Charles Goldstone.
go home, folks.
All right, everybody, graduates, please stand. You are now, because you are graduates of Wayland High School, going to turn your tassels from the right to the left. And I hereby pronounce you graduates of Wayland High School. You may toss your hats in a row. Congratulations.